This is a video about using Putty for hand exercises for children. I tend to use Can Do Therapy Putty, which you can Google. You can find on Amazon, Walmart, pretty much anywhere. I do like to find mine here at bestpriceproducts.com, but I am not endorsing any particular site. The Putty comes in different amounts of resistance, starting with the softest to the hardest. For the Can Do Therapy, XX is soft, yellow is extra soft, red is soft, green is medium, blue is firm, and black is extra firm. And you can mix these different colors to get the correct consistency for your child. Another alternative you can use to Therapy Putty might be something like Goofy Putty, Silly Putty, or anything that you can find at the stores. You may even use Play-Doh for some of these exercises, however, it's not ideal. You can also look online. There are plenty of sites that tell you how to make your own Therapy Putty. So there's lots of different ways to get the materials for this. Before you get started with the Therapy Putty, you need to understand a couple of things, really important. First of all, have the child wash their hands before they use the putty. That is really important so that it doesn't get dirty or contaminated. The other thing you need to understand is if you're using with multiple children, they need to have their own supply and it needs to be used only by that child. When you first start with the Therapy Putty, a couple of things you need to understand about this material. Number one, first of all, have the child wash their hands before they use it to keep it clean. The other thing is if you're using it with multiple children, make sure they each have their own supply. The other interesting thing about this material is that you need to keep it off of the carpets, keep it away from clothing, and keep it away from the child's hair. It needs to be done on a solid surface, either a table or something of that nature. I prefer to have the child standing at a table, or they can be in tall kneeling at a coffee table. But make sure that it stays on the table at all times. So one of the first things you want to do is just to get the putty nice and soft, is you just need to keep stretching it. Just pull it, keep pulling it, because the more you pull it, the softer and more malleable it will get. This is probably a combination of tan and red. It's actually pretty good for most of my kindergarten students and up. You can make it a little softer if you want to add a little more tan, or make it harder if you want to add a little more of the other colors, either the red or the green. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Then we're just going to wring it out like a washcloth. That's the first thing you want to do. You can do this a couple of times, just keep wringing it out. And the more you manipulate it, the softer and more malleable it will get. Okay, and the first thing we're going to do with it is we are going to roll it out like a snake. Okay, I like to have the child standing up at the table so they can actually put some nice pressure on it. So just make it a nice long snake. Okay. Then once you got a nice long snake, I want them to take it and I want them to wrap it around their fingers like this. And keep wrapping it. And then just have them squeeze, 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 squeeze. And they can do that a number of times and do that with both hands. The next thing I want you to do is have them roll it out into kind of a fat snake. And once they've got the fat snake, again, depending on how old the child is, they can get their scissors and they're going to cut 8 little pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. They're going to take each one of these and they're going to roll them into a ball. There's 1 ball, 2 balls, 3 balls, 4 balls. you can actually work on counting and one-to-one correspondence at the same time that you're rolling the balls. So now we've got 8 balls. And once you've got your balls ready, here's what you're going to do. You're going to place one in between each finger. And do this with both hands. And you are going to squeeze as tight as you can. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And you can do that a couple of times with each hand. So the next thing you want to do is you want to divide the Putty into 2, like that. And you want to roll them into balls with both hands at the same time. This is a really good bilateral activity for the kids, and they can put a little bit of pressure on it. Again, standing at the table is ideal. So they put more pressure on it, and they're working more of their core strength at the same time. Once you've got the 2 balls together, and you've done this a couple of times, go ahead and join the 2 balls together. Make one giant ball. Make it as round as you can. And this is a difficult thing for a lot of the kids, to make it into a round ball. Make it a round ball, and then from there, you make a pinch pot. Just using your thumbs. Pinch, turn, pinch, turn, pinch, turn, pinch, turn, pinch, turn, pinch, turn. And you can see how you're making what we call a pinch pot. Almost looks like a bowl. The next exercise is, once again, we roll it out again into a very, very long snake. See if you can get it as long as you can. Whatever length of table you've got, the longer the better. Have them keep rolling, rolling. Again, if you do this in standing, you can have them put a lot of pressure. For a lot of kids, it can be very calming for them. So this is a really good exercise for them to do. Get it as long as you can, a good 2 feet or so, okay? Then what you want to do is start rolling it into a coil. And again, you're using these 3 fingers. And these are the power fingers for your writing. These are what you actually use to write. So this is a really good exercise for those 3 fingers. And then once you've got it, then you can make it into a pinch pot once again, really working those joints, especially at the thumb. Another exercise is, again, you want to roll this out into a big snake. Make it this will be kind of a thick snake. You know, a good foot and a half is really good, okay? And again, depending on your child, will depend on how thick you make it. So what you're gonna do now is just cut this into sections about like that. There's no science to it, it's just what seems to work for the child, okay? And then you're gonna start by wrapping it again around 2 fingers at a time, okay? So you can start with these 2 fingers and have them break out. Then you do these 2 fingers, have them break out. And so you go on and do all the fingers. And you can do this several times. Each time you're having them break out like that. Okay, the next exercise, this is actually one of my favorites, is you just get your therapy putty. And you get some small objects. It could be pennies, it could be use beads. I get these beads at the dollar store. You want to get, as many as you want. I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then what you do is you just roll it all up like this. Roll it up. Whoops, that one fell out. That's okay. And what you're going to do is, this is called spaghetti and meatballs. This is one of my favorites. It's kind of a fun little game, okay? And so what you do is, once you've got it twisted like that, okay, then you start doing this. Spaghetti, 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 spaghetti. Meatball. Spaghetti, 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 spaghetti. Meatball. Spaghetti, 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 meatball. And I guarantee after a few minutes they're going to be saying Pischetti, Pischetti, Pischetti. This is an excellent exercise for most of the kids, and it's a fun exercise. As a final note, I just want to point out, Gadsden teachers, parents of Gadsden students are welcome to email me, and I can get you a copy of these exercises. I have them done in English and in Spanish. I can send them in a PDF or in a Word document. Thank you.